Swagatam Sarvebhyah. Last class we had ended with Ach, the first section of Maheshwara Sutra, and then we ended saying that A, O, I, Au, these ended the swaras. The Ach so represented all the swaras. It was an acronym for the entire set of swaras. So today let's discuss what the Hal means. Ha to La. What does that mean? Ha to La. So Ha starts from the fifth sutra to the end, 14th La. Hal, ha, ya, vara, la, nyama, ganana, jabha, gadada, jabha, gadada, khapa, chata, chatata, kapa, shisar, ha. Now here all these dead consonants are to be thrown away. Yeah, nobody keeps the garbage in their homes. Are to be thrown away once you use them as an acronym, but not from the table itself. These are very useful for indicating where you have to end the set. So you begin at her, depending on which dead consonant you refer, the set is determined by that. So if you say ha hun, you would end up getting ha ya vara la. The pratyahara would retrieve ha ya vara la itself. Then so har would mean ha ya vara la nyamagana jhabha ghadada jabha gadada khapa. You didn't find ra at all. Khapa chata chata kapa. Here ra is there. Sha sha sa. So you end up till sha sha sa. That is how a pratyahara works. So hal would mean all the consonants. But the careful ones would have noticed that the more perceptive ones, in fact, that hal could also mean this. So ha and la, that's it. So it only retrieves you only ha. You end at ha, go to la. There's nothing in between, so it just includes ha. So does hal only mean the set of elements containing the singleton ha? Yes, it does mean that, but depending on the bhashyakara, which is the interpreter, the commentator of the rules book, because it was very concise, there was a need for a bhashyakara, which was Patanjali in this case, to interpret what the sutras meant. What did he mean in his rule book? For example, the last sutra of it is what does that even mean? He's just repeating that's it. That's the sutra. That's the 3500 or 3900 rule. What does that mean? It requires a commentator, because he brought his sutras to such precision that could be applied throughout the Samskrita literature. However, to understand those rules needed some brains. Yes, the answer that you gave was right, that hal could also just mean only ha, but depending on the context of how he uses the hal, and depending on what the Bhashyakara interprets the hal as, it could mean either only ha, or it could also mean the entire set of Vyanjanas. That is true. And then, so why now we were discussing as we were with the swaras, why is there this order of ha, ya, vara, la? Why is that? That is because this is very interesting. When you see the first rule is a, I, u, and the second rule r, l, you would find some similarity here. You see, if you can remember from the Vyavastha 2, which is the Utpatti Sthana, which I'm going to show you right now. The Savarna, the cousin of ha was a. Wow. And then the cousin of e was ya. Nice. Ha, ya. And then the cousin of u, oh, we can't find it. But we can. If you see, this is Oshta. Where is the another Oshta, which is va? Oh, it's right here. So we see a, I, u is ha, ya, va. Right? And then land. Why is that la? L comes with la. You see here, la and l. That's in the separate line. So ha, ya, va, ra. And what is that? That's a dead consonant. It is just for ending a sentence. It is ha, ya, va, rat, and then land. La is here. In this danta is this cousin here, la. So we see a, I, u, r, l maps to ha, ya, va, ra, la. Correct. Wow, that's nice. Hayavara and la. So, but why is la not in the same line? It should have been Hayavaral, Hayavaragat. Why is it Hayavarat and then lan? That is a good opposition. That's a good objection. In fact, in one of the probably it was Bhoja who has written the Saraswati Kanthabharanam, another grammarian in fact, and he has written a beautiful text called the Saraswati Kanthabharanam, which is again a condensation of all of his condensation as well as an elaboration of the rules of grammar in totality. And so there he did really combine these two, the fifth and the sixth, to make Hayavaralat, or probably he had made it Hayavaraland, whichever. So why was that? That is, why did Bhoja do so, and why did Panini not do that and make it into separate line? One reason which I could find is because Lund, the L, we said was the most was the least used vowel, and probably bearing that in mind, Panini could have honored the rarity of L, the vowel L, by giving him a separate line of Lund. Or the other numerological reason is because he didn't want to end up having 13 sutras. If he had eliminated this and put it here, it would have become 13 sutras. And the other reason which I can find is because in one circumstance, in one instance in the rule book, he wants especially the use of at. At is a to ta. In the at, for example, in the Natva rule, there's a rule called the Natva. In that, all these vowels and these consonants from a, I, u, r, l, e, o, I, o, havara, all of these do not become an impediment for the Natva. Natva is a certain rule, and all of these participate in it. They participate actively and positively. But La does not do so. La does not participate in that rule. So had Panini put this La in the fifth sutra itself, then the acronym should have been At, because you had to always end with the Halanta itself. You can't end saying oh. You can't end like that. Or you can't end as saying I. You can't say an here. Ana. You can't say I want only till here, so I will say ana. That's not allowed. According to his rules, if you want to play by his rules, so then you have to end with the dead consonant, which we have alleged and accused it as being garbage. But now we realize its importance. So you can't end there. And hence you had to either end with at or you had to end with an. If the la went here, you had to, then that would, you had to say at to include till ra, but you couldn't eliminate the la. You'll have to make a separate rule saying no, la is not included in that at. It would contradict it. Therefore, by this play of logic and by this play of rules, Panini said, let's just dump this confusion away and let's just give Lund a separate line and put him to avoid the confusion. Thus was born the sixth sutra, Lund. And then we see, yes, the next line is the seventh line, which is the sutra, is the nasal consonants, which we have seen a lot. We have seen it from the first Vyavastha, second Vyavastha, now in the third also. Nyamangananam. Now you can see how this wonderfully relates to this Akuha Visarjanyanam Khandana, this sutra rule. Here we see Nyamagananam Nasika, Nyamagananam Nasika cha. Oh, now we find, so this was the place where we found the reason for this disorder, seemingly disordered fashion. Nya, then ma, then na. This was inspired by Panini's sutras itself. So, Nyamagananam. Why is it in that order? Again, there is another, when he wanted to play with another rule called the Ngamudagama, which is a Sandhi rule. There he wanted to include only nga, na. But had he written the nga first, then it would have included all the 5. It would have been nga, nya, ma, na, na, which was wrong, which he didn't observe. So to match his observations, he had to put this nga, na, na separately in this order itself. Similarly with the other rules also. Now we'll quickly go through the other rules one by one. So now jhabhanya, ghadhadash. Now we have discussed this in the beginning itself. Ghadhada would behave differently from jha and bha. So he had to give it a separate line. Similarly, these 5 didn't participate in the rule which included 8 and 9, and hence a new line. And so on with the other rules. Now, for example, the 10th line is useful in a sandhi called jashtva. Another sandhi, jashtva sandhi. In that, if Jabagadada had to be included in the 9th sutra itself, it would have been ghash, ghash, right? Ghash. Then these 3 unwanted letters would have also been included, which he didn't want at all. He despised extra curricular activities. He wanted to the point, to the point, to the point. That's it. Precise, precise, precise to the utmost, to the most possible degree. And then we have now you can correlate this as being the 3rd column, right? Ga, ja, da, da, ba. Ka, ka, ga, cha, cha, ja, ta, ta, da. I mean, ta, ta, da, ta, ta, da, pa, pa, ba. Oh, these 3, the 3rd column from the first Vyavastha. Isn't it? Here. Ga, ja, da, da, ba. Ga, ja, da, da, ba. That is the 3rd line, is the 10th line. Then kha, pa, cha, ta, ta, cha, ta, ta. Now, there was a rule called chav, naschavya prashan. Now that really seems a lot Latin and Greek. In fact, it is actually Sanskritam. We have to change the idiom. The phrase too, it sounds like Samskrita and Latin, not Latin and Greek. It sounds like Maheshwara Sutra. That could be the new phrase. So now when it says naschavya prashan, chav is included here. So what is chav? Cha, ta, tha, cha, ta, ta. Correct. That is chav, which didn't include kha and pa. That is why kha, pa, which correlates to ka and pa. See the alpa prana, the mahaprana, which are just below it. So that was the reason why he could just say chav instead of putting kha, cha, ta, tha, pa as the 2nd line would run. See here, kha, cha, ta, tha, pa. He put kha, pa, then cha, ta, tha to cater to that rule of naschavya prashan. He wanted only chav there. Had he put cha before and pa later, then pa would be included in chav. Is it not? Just try that. Just try it for yourself. Put kha, cha, tha, tha, and here pa. Exchange pa and cha here, and then with tha. Just write it down and see it for yourself. See the elegance in this. See the logic here. Now, had he put this pa here, and the rule demanded only these varnas of cha, ta, tha, cha, ta, ta, which are the mahaprana and alpa prana correspondingly. Cha, ta, tha, cha, ta, ta. The rule demanded only these 6, but you are putting another pa, so it violated the rule. Therefore, to stick to the rules, he had to make this a little arbitrary. He had to change only these 14 sutras, otherwise, and make them arbitrary. Otherwise, he had to change the entire rule book itself and make it seemingly long and difficult to understand, which it already is, of course, but it would have been more difficult. And then kapai. Kapai has come down for the same reason. Had ka, pa gone here, then chav would have included ka and pa, violating the rule. So new line. Similarly with sha, sha, sa and hal. Now what is interesting about ha, sha, sha, sa and ha? Right, they occur at the end in the first Vyavastha. You see here, sha, sha, sa and ha. You see here, sha, sha, sa, and ha in the Avargaya Vyanjana. So sha, sha, sar became one, and then hal. So why is ha not included as is here? Why is it not in the same line? Shasha sar, shasha sahar. Why is it not shasha sar and hal? Why is it shasha sa then ha? Why is that so? Kimartham? That is because now we were discussing, there was another pertinent question of hal being, why is there a double ha? That actually is plays an important role in this question as well. So sha, sha, sa, as we'll discuss in the next videos in the prayatna part here, sha, sha, sa, ha is right. They belong to the category of isha divrita. What it is, we'll discuss it later. All of them are later. Is reserved. You have to wait a lot. Sha, sha, sa, ha, they belong to the isha divrita. However, in the karkasha category, only sha, sha, sa is included, whereas ha goes to the mridu category. See here, ha comes here, whereas sha, sha, sa is in karkasha. So now Panini had to choose. He had to choose between the Maheshwara Sutra and the Ashtadhyayi. He had to choose which he had to make it arbitrary and which to make consistent. So he chose obviously the greater Ashtadhyayi, which consists of 4,000 sutras approximately. It was easier to just make the first 14 sutras, which is the Maheshwara Sutra, a little arbitrary as compared to the other 4,000. Anyone would do that. And so he had to break it and make it sha, sha, sar and then hal. For the same reason, ha, which is included in the samvara, which means what it means, again later. Samvara is a term used in the prayatna. No, that's just a category. Just remember it as a category. Samvara. Ha is included in that. But it also comes under vivrita. It comes under the category of isha vivrita. What it means, again, for the next videos. Ha is included in both vivrita and samvara. Vivrita and samvara, which actually are contradicting each other. And hence, one ha was included here for the isha vivrita, and one ha here was used for the samvara. That way, he could balance these contradicting. He could resolve the contradiction in the pronunciation and the later categories. This was the genius of Panini. So it's wonderful that he could devise using such great logic, that which to be included, which not to be included, and so on. It goes on and on. Now this is the explanation of that I've just given right now. And in the next class, we shall discuss what the pratyaharas are. And we have been discussing a lot about pratyaharas. How are they actually derived? How can we actually produce some more acronyms for our own benefit? How can we play around with the pratyaharas? What would we get? What would be retrieved out of them is what we shall discuss in the next video. Catch up there in the Maheshwara Sutrani part 4, I think, the Pratyahara part. See you there. Dhanyavada.